Bernstein chord solo. This time we'll take a look at Lush Life, an edition he played solo for my masterclass, I think, on YouTube. Anyways, let's just go right into it. So it starts with with the verse, obviously, and he plays a small intro to the verse, which kind of seems like it gets cut off in the video. So it seems like he's playing something before that. But let's just start where the video starts. So basically what it plays here is kind of like we're in A major, right? But he does a little excursion before getting to the E7. He plays a G minor, so he plays an F and an E, and then this kind of G minor chord down here, which is just a barré on the 3rd fret with the E on the 2nd string. Then he goes down to F major, just your basic F major chord, F major 7, of course, and then the E7. That's his signature kind of E7 chord with the flat 9 up there. So I'll show you the notes. We have an F here, C sharp, G sharp, a D, and an E. So it's a very unique E7 chord. So basically, harmonically, just if you think about it for a sec, instead of just playing the 5, this is kind of an excursion that he's gonna use it afterwards in the verse as well. And what he basically does is, instead of just doing a 2, 5, 1, plays a 2, and then he briefly goes to the flat 6, which is F major 7, right? And then he sets it up with a C7, but only instead of a C7, he plays the 2, which is a G minor. But of course, this chord, because it's a G minor 6, you could also think about it already as a C7 chord. So basically he sets up the F major 7, sorry, he plays it down here, which is the flat 6, and then the flat 6 in turn kind of leads to the 5. So that's a very common way of reharmonizing a 2-5, right? Instead of just playing the 2-5-1, you can always do a small excursion through the flat 6 there. It happens in countless songs, and also in a lot of soloing in jazz. Anyway, so after he plays that small intro, he had the E7, and now the verse itself starts. And important to notice that he plays it in A, right? He plays the whole song in A, and he kind of wants to use a lot of the open string that we have on the guitar, right? He uses a lot the E and the A strings, and he also uses those two up here, the B and the G string. So all of them kind of come useful if you play this tune in A, and if you would have played it in the original key, usually it's played in D flat, you wouldn't be able to use many of those open strings. So I think that's a main consideration why he plays this in A. Right, so let's take a look at some of the stuff he plays. It starts off with just playing the melody of the verse, but he kind of harmonizes it in a very unique way. And he does it like this. So this is the melody, E, A, and then he harmonizes the A with a G sharp. So that's a minor 2nd. And now the harmony of the song is an A major that goes to a G7. But Pete harmonizes this with a G major 7, right? He plays the F sharp first, and then the F. So we got this unique movement kind of in the second voice. Yeah, sorry. And the melody is basically just going up the A major scale. But it kind of harmonizes with the F sharp. Again, a minor 2nd here between the F sharp and the open G string. And the melody is up here on the B string. And then we have an F natural, a G, and the B. And then we go back to the A major chord. And now once he gets back to the A major chord with the C sharp up here, he uses the open strings. So first the E string and then the A string. Now it goes back to the G7, so it does the same thing. Chromatically from G sharp, G, F sharp, F, and then he plays this kind of open chord again to have the G7 sound kind of included. Then repeats it a second time. Now the harmony kind of moves on, so we repeat the melody, and then we have an A major chord, an A major 7, right? So C sharp, A, G sharp, moving up the harmony, and we have a D, B, and then A, so a B minor chord, now a C sharp minor chord. Now he plays this bass, a G in the bass, which kind of signifies, well, in the original song, the chord there is a C major 7 instead of a C sharp minor. So instead of this, so that could lead him to play this G in the bass. But anyway, it's a very brief chord. He kind of just plays the G, and then he moves on. He plays a D minor. This is again the melody, and then an E minor. Like this perfect fourth chord he uses a lot. So we have an F, C, G, and D, and then an A, D, sorry, what am I talking about? G, D, A, and E up here. And now we want to go back to A kind of, but it does a sub 5, which the song does originally as well, but Pete includes a 2 for the sub 5. So the sub 5 of E7 is B flat 7, and the 2 of B flat 7 is an F minor. So after Pete switches up here, he plays this chromatic movement from G minor, F sharp minor to F minor, which is basically again the 2 of the sub 5. Now we kind of arpeggios B flat 7, so we have a B flat, A flat, G. This melody that kind of leads us back to the E, and now he plays the same thing he played in the intro, the same thing we were talking about. So he plays a B minor chord, B minor 11, but now instead of just going to E7 and back to A, he plays this small excursion to the flat 6. So he plays a C7, F major 7. Now it plays chromatically from. Sorry, I'll walk you through the notes a bit, because the notes are not that obvious to figure out. So we have the B minor chord with the 11 has an E, D, A, and a B. Now C7 with an E, B flat, and a C, and the F major 7 that's E, A, and F. And now it goes chromatically down from D, D flat, C, C natural, and this is already a B flat chord, right? So again the sub 5, so C, B flat, A flat. Now it goes to the 9 of the A chord. This is where we reach the A chord again. Plays the bass. And now we arpeggios kind of a C sharp minor, which if you know anything about harmony, the upper part of an A major 7 is a C sharp minor, right? So when you arpeggio kind of a C sharp minor, it's another way of playing an A major 7, but keeping it maybe a bit more interesting than just arpeggioing an A major. So he arpeggios this quite quick. This is just going up the arpeggio. And now from this G sharp, he goes down to G. So, sorry, maybe I'll show you the notes for a sec, because maybe it's not obvious for everybody. G sharp, C sharp, E, G sharp again, C sharp, E, and a G sharp up here. And it goes half a step down to a G. And he embellishes it with this minor second. So basically, we have a G, and then a B and a B flat together, and he plays the E in the bass as well. So this is, I think about this as kind of an E7 chord with the sharp 11 and the 5 over here, and the sharp 9 up here. So it doesn't have a lot of E7 material in it, right? But it does sound like a 5 chord, like this should come back, this should bring us back to the original A chord. So after playing that, he kind of arpeggios, again, he arpeggios an E7 chord, but he arpeggios an E7 sharp 11, right? Or flat 5 would be maybe a better way of looking at it. So instead of, we have an E, D, and then instead of a B, he plays a B flat. But, so this is just arpeggio, right? And we could just keep going with the same notes. Right? This kind of monkey arpeggio, Thelonious Monk like arpeggio, maybe. But he adds another note to it, which is the flat 9, so the F. So in both octaves, kind of, he adds this F to the arpeggio, which is a flat 9 of the E chord. So it's not so unusual, but it kind of gives it a weird, maybe like a more modern sound than it would have without it. Then, of course, once he reaches the B flat, he goes down to the A, and this is when we start the second half. Well, the second part of the verse, right? The verse kind of repeats itself in the beginning, so this is where it starts. So the second half is very similar to the first half, so I'll just go through it briefly until the point where it changes. And he plays it, if you listen to the original video, kind of, he plays it a bit differently. So he chooses a different position to play some of the notes, although he plays the same notes, but just on a different string, on the second string instead of the third strings. And some of the open strings that he repeats are a bit different. So to get the exact nuance, you can just listen to the video. I'm not going to go through them in such detail, because he mainly uses the same materials. But the second time is very similar. Let's just go, I'll just play it once. Right, so it's basically the same thing. In the beginning, he plays, instead of just a G sharp, he goes through the G as well before getting to the F sharp. This is a bit different. He does this embellishment here: C sharp, B, E, C sharp. And now he changes it up. So we have the same melody from before, right? Just going up the A major scale. But he plays this more interesting idea this time. Instead of just arpeggioing the chord, he does always this, it's a very common jazz movement where the major 7 goes to the 6. So we have, in A major chord, we have the G major goes to F major. But we use also a chromatic note from below. So an F natural goes to F major. Now he does the same thing on the B minor chord. Here, of course, we don't have a major 7, we have a minor 7. So we have an A, G, and the G sharp. Now he does the same thing, but the order is a bit different. So he starts with the C sharp. He plays the D and A here, and then A and A sharp. And now it does the same thing it did before, so we have a D minor chord now, right? That's the harmony of the song. So don't get confused, right? The A major scale has a D major chord, but this song goes up to a D minor chord. And this time he plays a D, he plays the F and C up here, and then he embellishes the chromatic up to the 6 with this this cool kind of diminished sounding chord that if you watch my videos, we kind of use a lot, right? Pete uses it all the time. So again, uses a chromatic. So this one is, I'll just show you the notes. This is a G, E flat, B flat, and an E natural. And now half a step up. So we have a G sharp, E, B, and an F. And now it reaches the E minor chord. Again, this is the same chord from before, only it plays the first string as well. So we have a B, G, D, A, and an E. He plays this kind of small embellishment here, even though it's not part of the melody. So that's a D and a G. It kind of sounds great. Now he goes back to the same chord from before. We had a B flat 7, if you guys remember. That's the sub 5. But he plays it differently now. We have the 2, the F minor. He plays an F minor 9. So we have a G, E flat, A flat, and F. And an a B flat augmented. Well, it's more like an A flat augmented with a B flat in the bass. So basically what you have is a B flat chord with the sharp 9, the sharp 11 and the 9. Right? That's also a very chord kind of Pete uses very often. Now again, this embellishment for an F minor or B flat chord that goes back to the A major territory. So we have the 2 chord. This is the same thing it does harmonically before. Instead of just playing a 2-5-1, he goes briefly through the A flat, this flat 6 chord, so the F major chord. But this time he does it a bit different. He plays. So again. So he plays this chord kind of like the E, the bass, B, and then A and D together. And then from the other chord he kind of plays only the top note and the bass. So he plays an E up here, a C down here, then the E again, an F down here, and again the chromatic movement down to C, reaching the B flat chord again. Sorry, he kind of arpeggios this chord as well, so an F and an A afterwards before the chromatic. And now he reaches the A major chord again with the 9 up here, so a B up here and an A. And now he arpeggios the same thing again. So the C minor, the C sharp minor chord. But instead of playing a G sharp and a G, this time plays an A and a G sharp, and he plays this chord underneath, which is a D and an A. So we have a G sharp and D and an A together. And this to me kind of sounds like a D7 chord. I don't know if you guys agree, or maybe it's an A minor major 7 chord. This could be anything you think of, but what's important is that he ends up arpeggioing an A minor chord here. So with the 9 we start up with C, B, A, E, C, B, A, E, C, B, A, and then an A flat. So this is kind of his way of getting to this A flat 7, which is going to lead us to the next part of the verse, that's in C sharp minor or D flat minor, whichever way you want to look at it. So back to that chord. To me, it sounds like it's pre-announcing this arpeggio. Yeah, it's not a very definite chord, right? It doesn't have. It's not enough notes to really say which chord this stands for. But it's kind of a nice sound up here. And then he plays the arpeggio, and he ends up with this A flat 7 sharp 11 chord. So the notes are D,